Hey guys, Jason here. Welcome back to the channel. Today I got another little top 10 list for you guys. I'm talking Stephen King today. I just finished all of his books that he had published before the year 2000. So I thought I would do a top 10 list of all the books that he published before his accident, which in 1999 he was hit by a van while walking on the road by his house, and it almost killed him. And you know, a lot of people kind of consider that like a turning point in his writing career, that like his style kind of changed after that. And I don't really know, I haven't read a ton of the books that he wrote after that, but I've finished all of them up to that point, so I think I'm just going to do a top 10 of that era of his career. So yeah, basically any book that was published in the 70s, 80s, and 90s are eligible. Also, as far as eligibility goes, I did include Bachman books in this, so those count towards, you know, whatever. And then, but I didn't include any of his, like, nonfiction. Without further ado, I'll just get right into the list here. Alright, so the first one is, it's a Bachman book. It's in this collection. I don't have, like, a copy, an individual copy, but The Running Man. I love this book. It's really, really fun, and fast-paced, action-packed. The ending, like, blew my mind, and I was just like, damn. So, and it's much better than the movie, the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. In fact, the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie and this book really don't have very much in common. Other than, I guess, like, the general premise is sort of similar, but yeah, it's a really great book. Number 9 is The Dead Zone. This book's awesome. It's about a guy who, he gets in a car accident, goes into a coma for like 4 years, and when he wakes up, he has like psychic abilities. And it's so awesome, and it's kind of interesting. There's like this political figure in it, and it's like he's basically like a Donald Trump type character. He's it's really weird and prescient, because this book was published in like 1979, I think. And like the fact that he kind of predicted a lot of what like American politics was going to look like in 20 or 30 years was pretty on the mark. So yeah, I really enjoyed this book. Number 8 is The Green Mile, which is this serialized novel. I don't have like a collected version, but got 6 little books that make up the full novel, and it's just so good. It's about this guy who's wrongfully accused of a crime, goes to jail, is on death row, and is ultimately executed for a crime that he didn't commit. It's pretty crazy. It's a really good book, and the movie's a fantastic movie as well. So it's one of the better, I think, Stephen King adaptations. So check that out. All right, number 7 is Dolores Claiborne. I love this novel. It's so much fun, and like, I don't know, it's pretty dark, but the way it's told is so awesome. Like, Dolores, it's basically, it's a story about this woman named Dolores. She's telling the police in like an interrogation about the time that she killed her husband. And it was like years and years ago, and whatever, like they don't care about that. But it relates to a murder that occurred recently that they're investigating. So, but she's just like telling the story, and it's like all told in her voice, and she's so funny. Like the way she speaks is just so funny, and I don't know. I loved this book, and it's also very like kind of stream of consciousness. There's no like chapters, there's no like page breaks or anything, so you just kind of get into like her head and like just follow her along this story that she's telling, and it's just, I don't know. It's a very interesting, awesome book. All right, number 6 is Cujo. Oh my god, this book made me cry so hard at the end. And like, I don't want to give away too much. So this book is about a dog named Cujo who gets bitten by a bat with rabies, contracts rabies. This mother and her son are trapped in this car that breaks down, and the dog is like trying to get at them, and they're stuck in that car for like a long time. I don't remember. It's like a day at least, and it's hot, and it's in the summertime and all that, and it's just so sad. And I don't know. I feel so bad for Cujo. He's like he tries to be a good dog, but he just got this disease, and it's just it's so sad. But anyway, yeah, it's a tearjerker. And if you've seen the movie, the book is way different. Especially the ending is like way different. Number 5 is Carrie. This is his first published novel. I don't think it's the first novel that he wrote, but it was the first novel that he published. And oh my god, it's so good, and it's short. You can read it in like a day or two. But it's so good, and it's about this girl who she's kind of picked on at school. Her mom is crazy, like super repressive religious person, and like she like discovers that she's got these like telekinetic powers. She can like move things with her mind, and yeah, that's probably as far as I should. I mean, if you don't know what Carrie's about, I don't know what you've been doing the last 40 years. Like, where have you been? Yeah, man. Oh, so good. And like so sad and tragic, and you feel so bad for Carrie, but then at the same time you're like, cool it, girl. Like, you don't have to kill everybody. So it's good. It's very good. Number 4, it's a novella collection. It's different seasons. And this has The Shawshank Redemption, The Body, Apt Pupil, and the 4th one is The Breathing Method. All of them are fantastic, except The Breathing Method was okay. But my god, The Shawshank Redemption's awesome. The Body's like another story that made me cry. And Apt Pupil is like one of the most disturbing, horrible. The main character, both of them, are just horrible psychotics and horrible people, and it's just really. It's a crazy book. So this one is really, really good. And especially if you want something that's maybe like not as horror heavy from King, like this is really good because there's like some really heartfelt stuff in here. All right, number 3 is Misery. This book made me feel so trapped and claustrophobic and horrible. Oh, it's so good. And like, so this is about an author. His name's Paul Sheldon. He writes this series of like romance novels. He writes other books too, but those are like his most popular novels. And he's like finishing writing a book or something in Colorado, and he's driving down a mountain, and he gets in a car accident, really, really bad car accident, and like crushes up his legs and is really badly hurt. And he is found by a lady named Annie Wilkes, who just so happens to be a huge fan of his. Coincidence? I don't know. Maybe. But anyway, so she like takes him back to her house and kind of like infirms him there and like nurses him back to health. She's a nurse, by the way. But really what she's doing is she's like trapping him and keeping him as like a hostage, and it's really, really messed up. So it's a great book. Yeah, it's so good, and like just on the surface level the story is really awesome, but it's like really about like addiction and how like trapped you can feel, and like how you become dependent on this thing that's killing you and keeping you in a place that you don't want to be. It's very, very powerful stuff, and it's so good. All right, number 2 is It. This book, my god, it might be his longest novel. I'm not sure. Maybe The Stand is longer, but it's a chunker. But oh my god, it's so good. It is about a group of kids, friends, whatever, in this little town called Derry, Maine, and they are like in this town every 27 years or so, tragedy befalls the town. There's like kids that go missing, a bunch of kids getting murdered, usually children, but sometimes it affects adults as well. And so this town has this long history of this happening every 30 years or so. And so these kids are kind of trying to figure out what's going on. They find out that it's this like clown figure that is going around killing kids, and they, through their childhood whatever wanderings and investigation, they like figure out a way to destroy this monster that's terrorizing this town. But it's also set 30 years later, they're adults, and they've come back to Derry to try to fight it again. It's like come back or whatever. And it's just like the format is really awesome. They like cut back and forth between like the childhood times and the adult times, and it reveals all this stuff about their childhood that throughout the story. It's so well done, and like again, the surface level story is really, really good, but then if you like look a little deeper, it's really about like childhood friendships and losing your innocence, and how growing up you'll like forget what it's like to be a kid, kind of. And the characters are just so good, and like the relationships are so just it's some of the best like coming of age type storytelling that's ever been put to paper. It's amazing. It's so good. Alrighty, number 1 is Wizard and Glass. This is book 4 in the Dark Tower series. Now, I love the Dark Tower. As far as like a single story goes, the Dark Tower, hands down. Like, that series is absolutely incredible. And now this one is my favorite one. Right now, this is my favorite Stephen King novel. Unless, you know, I've got about a little over, like maybe 15 or so books left to read. And so unless one of those bumps this one off the top, this is probably going to be my favorite novel of his. I love this book so much. It's so good, and it's about, it's like, so the Dark Tower follows Roland and his quartet, a bunch of other characters, and throughout, on their journey, right? I'm going to try not to give too much of this away. Now, this is right smack dab in the middle of the story. This is like basically like a backstory for Roland. It tells of his time in Magus, which is like, I don't know, it's like this western-y kind of Mexico type of a place. And his relationship with a girl named Susan, and his kind of first foray into gunslinging and what that's about, and all of that. But it's so good. It's a western. It's a romance novel. It's crazy. It's just so good. It's another book that made me cry. It's part of the Dark Tower series, but you could read this novel, at least the flashback part. There's like 50 pages in the beginning that's like, you know, Roland and the group like doing stuff, and then there's like 50 or 60 pages at the end of Roland and the group doing stuff. But if you just like skip that part and just start and just read the part about Roland and what he's doing before that, you could read this novel by itself, and it's amazing. In fact, just read the whole Dark Tower series. It's the best story ever that I've ever read. Anyway, that's my list for, you know, top 10 Stephen King written before he was struck by a car. I'm going to keep reading more Stephen King. I'm going to finish up, and then I'll probably do a top 10 after his accident, so like the 2000 and on. I guess I'll probably do like a top 10 of all time Stephen King eventually. But yeah, I'm working on finishing up all of his novels. Like I said, I got about 15 or so more to read. So I'm dedicated to finishing it by the end of the year. And if you like Stephen King stuff, if you want me to make more Stephen King videos, please let me know in the comments. I don't normally review individual books. I've just been doing like the discussion of like a group of books, like per time period. But if you want me to do reviews of individual books, please let me know, because I love Stephen King, and I love talking about Stephen King. And if you guys want to hear me talk about Stephen King, then I'll give you what you want. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Peace.